Welcome to Muscle Fix Mobile podcast featuring Dr. Nick Kuzmanovsky, myself, Greg Barton, marketing guy and janitor. And today we have
Dan Tieman.
say that right?
It's Dan Tieman.
Dan Tieman. Thanks, Nick. Thanks. This is what he sent me a text. Anyways, very excited to have you on. We have a marketing genius in our midst here specifically for physical therapy, which is interesting. We've found from people that you run into, and from what I've observed, that there is a lot of opportunity in that field because the general marketing is terrible, I think, for most providers, to be honest. So a lot of room for business, a lot of room for growth. So maybe if you could speak about how you got into it, your process, like what brought you here?
Totally. So I always like to give a little bit of a backstory. What's going on, everyone? Dan Tieman here. I run Stealth Media. We are a advertising agency that teaches physical therapists how to fish for themselves instead of having someone else fish for them. So we actually open up the curtain and actually show you how our processes are done. So a little bit of a backstory, like you said, Greg, very simply put, is I've been doing the marketing for about 4 years. I've been in this kind of digital advertising age. I've seen more people come in and out of this industry than I went to college with. So this is one of those things where we were able to just kind of keep bullying forward. And I worked in all different industries. I've worked with real estate agents. I've worked with medical spas and so many other actual industries. In the last year and a half, I actually started diving deeper into physical therapy. My girlfriend's actually going to be a physical therapist. She actually graduates in May of 2021. So basically, it kind of all made sense in a realm. As well as I actually went to school originally wanting to be PT, but I sat in chem class and bio class, and I sat through maybe my first 3 weeks of chem. And I was like, I hate this. Anatomy, I could do that. And I actually walked down. I'll never forget this. I walked down the stairs in my lecture hall. I went to a small liberal arts college in Wisconsin, and I can't even remember the professor's name right now. But anyway, I handed her my drop slip, and I was smiling as I was doing it. And she goes, "If you're smiling while dropping a class you need for your major, you're doing the right thing. I'll let you know right now." So I was out there. I was like, I don't know what that means offhand. I just ended up taking some business classes after that. I'm a marketing sales degree and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's kind of how that fell. And then after college, a lot of just self-education in the marketing realm. Like I said, fell into PT in the last year and a half or so from there.
Very interesting. And that's a interesting little story there, because I had a similar experience, except I went through with it. I actually finished my major in computer science. And I hated it so much that I fell into accounting as an alternative, which was even more boring, but at least had more options. But anyways, long road leading to the world of marketing for physical therapy for myself, more as a side function. Let me ask you this. I see, and the chiropractor that we're affiliated with, Dr. T, he gets approached constantly by marketing guys. We see marketing funnel this and boost that. Like, what's your take on that? Like, what's your take on the average, pitch that you see out there?
Yeah, I like to call them the mom's basement marketers. Like I said, man, I've seen people come and go consistently. It's really just about how do you differentiate yourself, right? How are you different than those people? The thing is, we work with 70 plus clinics across the U.S. We're currently working out a deal with, a lot of people probably know this, it's called Physical with an F. We're currently embedding ourselves really deep inside of their processes. We work with about 10 of their clinics. Now, they do have 300, US wide, or over 300 now. And we're currently working our way up through the chain. We got in bed with a couple of good guys. Now, the biggest thing is just that at the end of the day, those marketers, all they're doing is really selling the lead, but they don't sell the whole process, right? Because there's really more to this than just getting the lead. Any schmo, can I swear on this podcast? Yes or no?
Go for it.
All right, cool. Any asshole could get a lead. Any asshole could get a lead at the end of the day. So what it differentiates us is, A, we're actually opening up the curtain, revealing how we do it. B, we're so focused on our clients and actually teaching the full end sales process too, because we actually have our own PT on staff as well that actually teaches how we were able to consistently get him 10, 15 new patients a month using our exact same system. So after we actually showed process, we decided to be different and we hired on someone to help teach our PTs. From there as well too, we decided to go out and find a chiro because we work with some chiros really only if they're referred to us. We don't actively go after chiros, but we'll take them if they're referred to us. And that's the only way we'll work with a chiro. And so basically we found a chiro, we started working with him. He had great success, really big deal down in Florida. We took him on too, right? So we took on these two guys in the healthcare field because that instantly helps us gain authority and it changes who we are as a whole as a company too as well, right? Now we're not just some asshole selling lead. Now we're an asshole selling a full process, right? So that's how we're really about it. To go back to your question directly, Greg, is the fact that the reason why they're so focused on that is they don't know how to provide any other type of value. One of my mentors said it best. I go, hey man, why do you always use, for yours, he's big within a different industry, but I go, why do you always use some sort of lead magnet? Why don't you just go straight to like book a call? He's like, because those people who go straight to book a call don't know how to provide any more value up front besides let's hop on a call and I'm going to sell you something. And that's it.
Wow. That's absolutely fascinating. You should say that because, so just for some backstory, I've known Nick since we're like 14 years old. And one day we just started talking on the phone and he's like, oh, I found this cup and set my wife gave me as a joke gift. And then, we're like, well, what about this? And what about that? And I'm like, well, all right, let's sell this. And so we worked backwards from building a brand outwards. And most of the time I was leveraging my knowledge of stuff in general and training Nick. So like when you were saying you're training the PTs, I always say to everyone, Nick's my best salesman. That's the whole point. He's the product. So like he's good with people. So that's the whole point. If I get him in front of somebody, he's going to make the sale. It's going to be finished. But like, I know exactly what you're talking about because I worked as a manager at H&R Block and I always use them as the greatest case study of what not to do. Sorry, HR. Like at the time, this was like 2012, 2013, they were getting impacted very hard by, free e-filing online. Like that was their entire client base was cheap filers, 1040 EZs. So they're like, what do we do? What do we do? So they spent $400 million on marketing. You couldn't open your computer. You couldn't turn on the TV without seeing their ad from January to April. And that got a lot of attention and a whole lot of nothing. Like they'd call in and then what? Like the pricing was off. People weren't sure what they were getting. They didn't like it. They're like, this sucks. I thought I was going to get consultation. Everything was off. All that money wasted. So yeah, 100%. It's very easy to muscle it and to get leads, but then what?
And with that said, kind of flipping that back around into the healthcare industries, if you look at some of these bigger brands, and Nick, you probably see their marketing too as well, like ATIs, let's say, right? Or Athleticos. Those guys have millions of dollars in the bank to spend on any type of marketing they want. They're probably held by some big subsidiary group of investors that actually have bank pockets that are bigger than 100 of your best friends. Okay. So with them, they could put out a little 2-3 sentence ad, show an image, and then call it a day. They don't have to worry about the entire process because that's not their goal. Their goal is they know at the end of the day that if they get their name out there enough, like people will just walk in and screw it. If someone walks in, cool. If not, cool. They don't really care because they're not in the business of training their PTs then how to actually sell these people. They're just in the business of how do we mill as many people through this thing as possible, right? So if you're going to be a PT and then you look at ATI and you're like, hey, they must know what they're doing. You can't do that. You don't have a big enough bankroll to do that. Your pockets aren't deep enough. You need the direct ROI almost immediately. And that's where different types of ads actually come into play, especially at the local level.
That's 100%, like in speaking with the Chiro, we're affiliated with Dr. T. Yeah, he was saying, oh, these guys were offering to, spam call for $4,000 a month. And I'm like, so $4,000 a month, $48K a year. What's the ROI? You're already almost 50 grand deep for what? A little bit of extra attention. What could you even service those clients? Assume you even got that increase in volume,
That's always a good one too, right? I see people promising 20 new patients to a solo PT, and a solo PT is like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with 20 new patients? Like, what the fuck am I I supposed to do with that, right? And they're just putting that out there because they think that's what. Oh, I freeze on you guys. Are we good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. They think that's what the PT or Joe, PT Joe wants, and it's not. PT Joe might be Nick. Are you a cash-based PT or insurance?
Strictly cash.
You're good cash. Cool. So Nick, you probably max out at what, 25 visits a week?
That's the goal. We've honestly, since COVID, really just been building and growing steady and slowly. Right now, we're averaging like 10 to 15 because I am a solo practitioner.
Cool.
So our model, we're looking to hire and grow this slowly and steadily. But yeah, it's very minimal. So unfortunately, I'm still in the clinic, which I'm looking to break out of prison and go solo.
Got it. Nick, if I was to offer you right now 20 new patients, would you know what the hell to do with 20 new patients?
No, that's kind of the conundrum we're in right now. So hiring flying monkeys, like Greg likes to call them, so we can grow fast.
Right? It doesn't make sense. So even going back to 2 questions ago, Greg, when you said, what do I think about those people making those offers? You don't understand the market. You haven't worked with over 100 plus clinics to figure it out. You've worked with 5 or 0.
I think you hit the nail on the head. They don't care. Like they said, we mission accomplished. We got phone calls coming in. Aren't you happy now? And then that's pretty much it,
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff. So you also raised another interesting point. You asked whether he was cash or insurance, and we do all cash. I mean, we can take insurance, but I don't know what it's like out by you, but the game has changed incredibly up in the Northeast, where they had changed the rules for physical therapy accepting insurance greatly. Where you used to have these very large practices able to bring in buku bucks, now like nothing. They had greatly reduced what you can claim. Have you run into that, or what's it like out there?
So I can't talk directly actually in Chicago. It's kind of weird. We only have probably 2 clients maybe in Illinois. I think even just 1 client in Illinois. And she's in insurance. So we work kind of split with about, I would say just under 50%. I would say it's about an even split. I actually don't know off the top of my head. We actually need to pull our existing clients where it's like 50% cash, 50% insurance. Now, I don't know directly all the rules with like that stuff going on. That's where I kind of let our PT take care of that. I'm so focused in on what's the messaging that works to get us the greatest throughput, right? How do we get the fullest throughput? And that's really what I worry about. Inside of it, we very much stay our lanes. So I can't answer directly on that. I just know the best process if you're a cash-based PT is you get someone in for an initial, we like to call them discovery visits, $27 or free. Free is like the best word in marketing. You just know how to have to convert afterwards, and you might have to change your sales process within that, right? So typically we say, hey, do $27. You come in for 27. You go to an eval for ranging from, we have people doing them as low as 150 because they're just starting out, to $250. Is kind of like what we see for the initial eval. And then they sell them directly into a plan of care after that, which is in the cash-based world, the package, right? Now with our insurance guys, they go straight from discovery visit straight into a POC, like instantly, right? So we really have a good split right now because you are talking about COVID specific. If you asked me this question 6-8 months ago, I'd be like, dude, I even was telling my girlfriend, we got to go cash. We got to go cash. We got to go cash once you graduate. But with this huge shift, really, it's hard to say as a cash-based guy, you kind of just have to pay attention to every move right now. Whereas insurance, we've had insurance clinics directly double throughout COVID, kind of consistently, honestly, with our marketing. And it could be really mixed too, because I do know some of our cash guys who also had their best months ever. So I see it so mixed.
Let me ask you this: for any of the practices, the brick and mortars, did you go out of your way to overcome the COVID stigma, or did it not matter, or like did you have to like allay people's fears, basically?
I guess. So what do you mean by that? Within the ad copy or within?
So you're advertising. Someone might be afraid to come into a clinic or a building for fear of getting the virus, especially in the early portion. Like, did you address that directly, or kind of just?
Yeah. So you meet the consumer right where their head's at, right? So we used to put in the ad copy, hey, we're following all CDC guidelines due to COVID. So we meet them right there, right at the level head. We had some people go out and we're like, hey, start doing some branding videos. to push some stuff in the background, just provide more value up front, talk about a little bit about what you're doing to keep everybody safe. But I wouldn't say directly immediate. We met it head on within the ad copy, not so much as in like, hey, we did a video all about CDC and then we pushed it out there and did this huge marketing campaign. It really didn't make a difference. From what we directly noticed, we just met it head on inside the ad copy.
Interesting. Very interesting.
We went about it and people made it through. So
Let me ask you this too. So we had a previous guest, Dr. Matt Shriver, another DPT as well. And he's a fresh graduate. He went straight into basically online coaching. Like he almost skipped like 10 stages that Nick went through and went straight to literally doing everything online, kind of going straight for a niche market, in his case, police and firemen. Like, do you see that as so have you run into that at all? Or like, I'm just curious, because that's kind of what we were leaning towards. We were thinking, let's focus on a niche crowd who could appreciate our service versus being more broad-based.
So, and this kind of brings up a story. I call that kind of like an affinity campaign. And I learned this from one of my coaches about a few years ago who works within mortgages. So he used to run campaigns specific to the industry because you could target them on Facebook so easily based off a job title, right? So he used to do a first responder campaign for mortgages, right? And that's how he would do it. He would carve it out for his clients and be like, hey, the first responder special, blah, blah, blah. And that's what he would do, right? Or the teacher special and blah, 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 right? I never directly worked with anyone who did it. The most niche I would see some people do is go after CrossFit. And I'm actually against some of that stuff. I know people teach it and it works out for some people. I'm against it only because I think about it this way. Yes, CrossFit is a great source for a lot of cash guys. But personally speaking, when I look at a market, if you're already in a market and then you lower that market because you only want people who will pay you cash, then you're going to lower that market again because then you also want people who pay you cash but are CrossFitters. And then you got to look at about how big the CrossFit community is, right? CrossFit community in some areas is like fantastic, right? Probably in San Diego, LA, Florida. I bet you the CrossFit community is through the roof because people care about their health. I'm in Chicago, man. We live on pizza, Italian beefs, and like Italian or Polish sausage. That's like my diet. At least not even gonna lie. So like that is my diet 30% of the year. I'm not a CrossFit guy. I try and hit the gym when I can. But I just think about how you're segmenting the market so much. And we have ran into that with some of our cash guys. But in honestly, working with so many cash guys, the ones that I see crush it are actually our hybrids. So the guys who accept cash but also accept Medicare. Those are the people I actually see that really, really crush it. Because they're like, hey, the Medicare is just so easy. Yeah, I don't get paid my cash rate, but I know I'm going to get paid. It's super simple. And they use almost the Medicare as like a bridge until they hit a certain monthly number. And then they don't target the Medicare clientele anymore. Instead, they use it as a bridge, but they open it between the ages of like 35 to 60. And they target everyone that would pay them cash within there.
Interesting.
I've seen work. I know some people who go ahead and do those really niche markets though, right? It just really is. If you're looking to build this big, massive business, then you probably can't go super niche, like super, super niche, right? I know within the PT world, there's about, I think it's like 100,000 PTs. I figure at least 50 to 60,000 are either solo or own a company. I would say about 50%. There's a good amount. So we're not going after such a small niche. I used to do that and it sucked. Instead, we actually broaden it. So I think about it the same way as if, let's say I'm out here in a western suburb called Naperville. And Naperville has, I think, probably like 100,000 people. But I would say only maybe 10% of that are CrossFitters. So then I'm only going after a market of 10,000. Then I need a CrossFitter who also has money that's willing to pay me cash. Then I need a CrossFitter who also wants to get better at what they do. And they're not just doing it for a hobby, right? Like I just feel like you're in a niche of a niche of a niche. It works for some. I just am not the one that has seen the massive growth off of that kind of style personally, from what I've seen.
Interesting. So do you deal at all with like logos and branding and the general aesthetic for your clients, or?
We do not deal directly with the logos and branding of the client. We're direct response marketers, man. We worry about getting people to see the ad and get their butts in the seats and get butts in the doors. That's where we focus. Even if you went to our website right now, it's actually getting redone. I threw it up on the page because per se until we hired our ops manager, she's like all about the branding and the aesthetics. Where I'm like, let's go, let's just get this out there, let's keep moving, and let's figure it out on the way. So I'm not one to actually sit there and look at like the logos and all that stuff. It's just not who we are.
Very interesting. So Nick sent me a text, one of your success stories, one that you had on your website, where you said $500 advertising, 14K cash for your client. I believe the client you mentioned earlier, the physical or something to that. Excuse me if I'm butchering that name. So what was that success story like for you?
Yeah, so we had quite a few, right? So I'll give you an insurance one, for instance. So Ed Weeks, Ed is a part owner inside of a physical out in Maryland. And basically Ed has ran ads in the past for themselves out there, right? So that's how he actually built up his clinic a little bit. That's how he built it up from like 30 visits a week to like 50 visits a week, 60 visits a week. So he's like, he was already sold that like Facebook works, like it works for us. We can make this thing work. He just didn't know how to be different with his marketing, right? So we came in and helped him out we've been with him for almost 6 months now. And we've taken one of his new satellite locations to actually go from 65 visits a week to 130 visits a week over the first about 60 to about 70 days. Which for them is going to be the max they literally could take at that, because it's a little satellite location, 2 PTs full time. That's about it. And that's how they're also building out their business. But he only spends $500 on ads a month, man. And he was able to double his business consistently. And now he just spends $500 to basically maintain. He's not really even trying to grow anymore. Like he'll even spend, I think this month he might only just spend like $300 because he's at capacity. I was just on a call with him today. He has 15 evals scheduled this week.
Wow.
So what was different with his advertising approach? Did you just get smarter about who you were sending his ads to, or what was different?
So first things first is insurance, right? So anyone who does insurance, you should always offer free discovery visit. Free discovery visit, really, really simple. Good thing about them is they actually take almost all insurance. They just got in with it's not NJ Health is the one in New Jersey. It's the same thing as NJ Health, but in Maryland. I cannot think of what it's just a regular Medicaid, Medicare, or yeah, I think it's like a Medicaid version. But they accept basically almost all insurance. So that makes it really easy within the sales process. All they say is, hey, you gotta go see your doc, and then they refer them back out to a doc to get a script. Right? Super simple. They even had it before where they're getting people calling them with scripts in hand. It was nothing crazy per se with the marketing. It was the fact of the sales process on the back end. They had it down to a T. Ed is the owner of the business, was making or still does about 60 calls a day to leads. So he's still calling the leads, and then he just gives them to his PTs, obviously. And then from there, his PTs have a dialed in sales process. You come in for a discovery visit, it's about 15, 20 minutes. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with you, and I'm going to sell you into the next phase of the eval, right? And that's for the insurance guys. So he figured it out that free was the best fit for his business. So it's the offer. The offers always make a difference.
The hook.
Of course, the hook, right? Get a foot in the door.
And for instance, one of our cash successes, Matt out in San Diego, Matt ran, he just, for the last few months, just has been doing broke his 20K ceiling with us last month or the month before, I can't recall. So he finally just did over $20,000 a month as a solo PT in San Diego, right?
Oh.
So he basically took it, and he was running a $27 discovery visit, right? The reason why we just offer these low things, I know PTs are like, man, I only want to do $97. I only want to do whatever. Why? Just get people in your doors and sell them. Like, do what you're supposed to do. Provide the value, sell them the thing, right? That's why you see Kairos doing $21 adjustments. They don't offer because it doesn't work. They offer because it works. That's why, right? If you see a Cairo for the last 6 months offering the same thing over and over and over again, probably works, guys. Look at it that way. And the reason why I bring that up is because I know the PT Cairo rivalry. So I know get under some PT skin. So I know that'll also get some fire under some Vasses over here. And I always tell that to my PTs. So if you see a chiro for 6 months straight running a $21 adjustment, probably works. And that's what you got to think about too. That's why you do a low end hook offer. Just get people in the doors. Make it easy for them to come in, not harder.
Fascinating. It's funny you should say rivalry because at least in my experience in dealing with both, the reality is that if done correctly, they actually complement each other a lot. The services, like there are some things that chiro can fix that PT can't and vice versa. Go figure. It's like if you really had a perfect world, you could just have a referral cycle like you here, like,
Yeah.
But really, really interesting stuff. And that's a lot of food for thought, So let me ask you this. When you saw Nick's marketing, scale of 1 to 10 and rip our hearts out.
I haven't even looked at Nick's marketing. Maybe I did. And maybe when Nick and I first spoke, but I actually didn't even check it out. Nick actually reached out to me via one of our ads.
Yeah.
So you're far more very.
It's like, hey man, like I just want to learn more about you. I think you'd be cool. I see what you're doing on your page. Come on this cool podcast, and I'm always down for whatever.
Yeah, same here. No, that's what we've by having this podcast series, we've found that a lot of people who come from various walks of life, you think wouldn't even want to talk to us, are interested because for a number of reasons. It's free self-promotion. They hear themselves talk. Who doesn't want that? And a lot of times we've heard repeatedly that people just said it was fun, if nothing else. We try to keep it light. I mean, it's not nothing.
I ran my own podcast in college, dorm rooms and conference rooms. It's still up on Apple iTunes today because I lost the logins there. And my credit card from college is still hooked up. So I pay $5 a month, and it just is going to sit on iTunes until that credit card expires. It's still there, dorm rooms and conference rooms, man. It's I have my old co-host, Saba Ali. But it was easy. That's how I made so many connections going into the marketing world is you got to put yourself out there, man. Like, if you don't put yourself out there, you don't know what's going to happen. And that's what I also see with the physical therapists too, is they like to use the stock photos or they like to do these different things. It's like, put yourself out there. You're the face of your business at the end of the day. Like, why aren't you running an ad with you just talking, explaining something, helping someone, provide value? Why not? What the hell you got to lose? You could spend $1 a day on Facebook, run it as a video views ad, and just put it out to your community, or $2 a day, whatever it is. However much you spend is also going to be correlated to how many people see it. But it's $1. If you don't have $1 to spend on your business, then you really need $1 a day to spend on your business, then you really need to reevaluate something and figure it out. And that's the hard truth.
No, it's absolutely fascinating. And Nick can tell you, tell me if I'm full of shit. That was the first thing I said when I was like thinking about this as a completely outside the industry person. I was like, he's our brand. We need to get this guy, throw him in front of people. So we use Instagram a lot, probably had our most success through that, to be honest. Facebook, cold response on that. I actually hate the platform with all my heart and soul. We have a page. I hate it and go away. I actually have been having fun with TikTok, and I have it connected to Instagram. So it's yet to see if it'll yield anything, but I've been TikToking,
Love that quote is like, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product.
Yeah.
That's how it works, man. If you're not paying for it, you are the product. I thought that was one of the best quotes out of that movie on Netflix.
It's funny you should say that you heard something meaningful from a Netflix show, because a lot of my theory on marketing, to be honest, came from watching Mad Men, which was a semi-true story. I mean, have you ever seen the series yourself or heard of it?
I've heard of Mad Men, but I've never actually sat there and watched it.
So it's a drama, whatever, a lot of bullshit, but it actually is the semi-true story of a marketing executive, a real life guy who ultimately made that "We Are the Children, We Are the World" commercial for Pepsi. But what's interesting is that he explains his thought process, and this guy was like a true genius, like an idiot savant of marketing, and he just, if you look at the ads from like the 1920s and 30s, which are very like simplistic and preachy, like buy toothpaste, your teeth will rot, like he went way into more subconscious, like psychological thinking, like next level thought process of how to push something. And that made me think a lot even before I ever came across trying to push Nick's thing. So
cool.
Well, anyways, speaking of stuff we didn't pay for, we didn't pay for a pro for Zoom. So we have 5 minutes left before it kicks us off for recording. There's a 40-minute limit if you didn't know.
So, Dan, tell us a little bit more about where our audience can find more about how they could get 1 million new patients a week through your company and how we can sign up with you, man.
Yeah, for sure, guys. I would find us really simply put. You can find me at dantieman.com. Or if you want to check out Stealth directly, the best place in all reality is stealthmedia.org. Once again, that's STEEALTH media.org. That is the best place to actually find us, to sign up with us. There's going to be a cool little video on there. You can learn more about what we do. The name actually does have a quick meaning. I know we got short on time, but cool thing is I used to work for a marketing company. It's called, Yelp. I think some people have heard of it.
Yeah.
In Yelp, you actually sign a non-compete, I guess. Didn't pay attention to that at all. So as I worked there, I started the marketing agency. Well, I still had it going, but I broke up with an old business partner. I was like, cool, I'm doing this under the radar. I'm stealthy. So we got Stealth Media out of it.
There we go.
Love it.
I love it. That's awesome.
That's how the name came about. But yeah, stealthmedia.org is the best place to actually find any information about myself, the team over here, and obviously hang out on the other side of the curtain.
There we go.
I want to thank you, Dan, for what you're doing for PTs out there, man. I appreciate your help and the marketing genius behind it. You and Greg, as I always tell Greg, without geniuses like you guys in the marketing, we couldn't help more people. So thanks for what you guys do in Stealth Media there.
Hey, anytime, man. It's our pleasure. The one thing I do want to say, I had an interesting discussion with one of our PTs on staff the other day, and basically the one thing I want to say to PTs is like, pay into your state organizations, because the less money you give them, the more shit they're going to take away from you guys, because then you don't pay for the lobbyists to go and get those things, right? And recently in Florida, massage therapists just lost some right to do something, I forget what, and they're all pissed. Well, it's because the massage therapists weren't paying in to get a lobbyist inside of where they are to go ahead and vote or get those things solidified for you. So as PTs, every PT should be paying into an organization inside the state, so you at least keep the lobbyists hungry to keep getting more and more rights for yourselves, and that way it could change the game. That way you can make more money, do more shit you like to do. That right now the boards don't let you do, frankly.
Very true. Fascinating you should say that as well, because that's something that our affiliate Cairo is huge into, because they're, especially up in New Jersey, it's constantly poking the stick, and people say they hate politics. Well, tough, you have to play it whether you like it or not.
Yep, exactly, especially in the medical field.
Oh, absolutely.
So I regret not dropping chem class and being in your shoes right now, but good luck to your girlfriend, and she should have dropped chem a long time ago.
Dude, that's what I say when I look at her student loan debt coming out. That's exactly what I say.
Oh, God.
Okay, she's in good hands with you, man. So congratulations and good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. And have a good one.
See ya.